So in 2010, which is when my records show that this Nigerian gold scam, really a Ghana gold scam, started. Um, there were, in 2010, started a series of wire transfers that would continue for about 6 years. 2010 to 2000, let's see, 15. There's some activity in 2016 and ending in about 2017. And these wire transfers were for anywhere between, the biggest one I saw was 65,000. Actually, you can see them here. I put the actual amounts. 20,000, 6,000 twice in the same day, 9,000, 30,000, and 6,500. And just take my word for it. There's a 25,000, 35,000, and there's definitely one for 65,000. I made a spreadsheet, and if I find the file, I'll bring it up. So in 2010, my father got involved in a scam, and I have some conclusions that I've made from looking at the bank statements, which went into storage because we lost the house we were in, and I didn't even know they were going to be left behind. The house was demolished. I have around 65% of the bank statements between 2010 and 2016, and I've scanned them and put them in spreadsheets and categorized them, and I'm just going to show you some of the craziest ones. I'll show you. This is 2012. All right, I have two screens, so one on the other screen. 2012, right? Let me see. Is there a way for me to zoom in? Okay. 2012, right? Mr. Lawrence H. Joseph, that's my dad. And 15,000. And John Adu Tamaha, whatever. This is the SWIFT code for Accra, Ghana. And don't ask me why it's going 60 Wall. I used to work at 60 Wall. This must be going maybe to JP Morgan. I don't know how these wire transfers work, but that's the receiving bank, and it's just weird that the street is Accra, City Accra, Ghana, and then intermediate bank is in New York City. I have to look into that more deeply. All right. Now, each of these transactions generated, I think, $45 in bank fees. And this was done over and over. Let me go back to 2010. That's where the biggest ones, that's where I can see it began. Let me zoom in right quick. All right, this was a cheap one. It looks like in 2010 it was $25, but I'll prove that and it got more expensive. And I don't know if it got more expensive just to my dad or oh wait, here we go. See that here's the $45 here. So I don't know the difference why this is $25, but the more important figure is the $20,000 figure. And this is unredacted. You know, the account doesn't exist anymore, and I don't really. Should be privately consumed. Now, this guy, Baramble Creek, is a guy named Kevin Baramble, and he was a supposed mortgage broker. Now, to go backward, we had a condo that we renovated in Edgewater, and at the time, around 2010, when we bought it, the mortgage market was about to crash. That was in 2008-ish. So by 2000, this is 2012, we're 2011, 2010, actually 2010, we were only going to get in it, flip it. By 2010, we're looking to refinance it. And to get out a bad mortgage we were in, because we couldn't sell it at the time. So fast forward, a guy named Kevin Baramble, who this account is attached to, moves in unbeknownst to even me as the real estate agent. I was just told to take it off the market. And my dad moves this guy in, and this guy goes from mortgage broker to making calls to Africa to bind deals to purchase gold. He brings his wife and his special needs kid and proceeds to take a beautifully finished townhouse and make it into a junkyard with all of his stuff that he brought from Red Bank, New Jersey, where I think that's where he was before he moved here. Now, I'm just going to say it. Probably Chase is the only one that knew. Chase and my father's banker specifically knew that my father was looking to refinance. And my father's record at that time should have got him a preferred rate right at Chase. But somehow he ends up talking to this Kevin Baramble, who's not affiliated with Chase, but in my opinion might have been affiliated with the Chase branch manager, who happens to be, and I will keep you in suspense for a second, so I want to show you something. I just want to show you okay, so this wire transfer was for $36.50, and look, to Ghana, to Mr. I guess that makes it official. Mr. Whatever. And let's see. Oh, this is not the one I want to show you. I must have this marked incorrectly. Let me get a better one. Here we go. So I just want to show you a name. Okay. Here's the name right here, right? So this was the branch manager at Chase, who happens to be from a prominent family in Ghana. He arrived at Chase, I believe, around 2010 or slightly before that, before the scam begins. And look at the trickery. Guaranteed Trust Bank, no city, no state, no zip code, no country. For final credit to Benson Johnson here, and that might be okay. Guaranteed Trust Bank, like Williamton, Williamton, Delaware. Like, dude, what? Like, where is this going? Who did it go to? Just seems, and there's a lot of these transfers, but just keep in mind this name here, because this is the hotshot Ghanaian banker, MBA, and 90, let's say 80, no, let's say 85% of the 1.2 million and counting. I think I can do the calculation. I have about 65% of the bank statements, and I'm at 1.2 million. So let me see if I can do a quick calculation to do an extrapolation. 1.2 million, and I think you divide by 60.65. Yeah, I think that's right. So you get like a 1.85. So what I'm trying to calculate is if I have I guess if we calculate a straight line progression, um, dividing 1.2 by 65 gives me what the number would have been had I had 100% of the bank statements. So let's just round it off at 2 million. However, it's more complicated because Western Union and MoneyGram were involved in this. Some kind of African um, Western Union. There's a little money that went through there. There's a bunch of money that went through Bank of America. And let's see if I have those scanned. Chase is the biggest culprit. And see these Richard, those are ones that were endorsed by him. And it seems like at some point he kind of laid low. Um, and I guess maybe so he wouldn't get caught. Let's see what's in this file. Accra, Ghana. He's from Accra, Ghana, right? 30,000 Accra, Ghana. 35,000 going into his bank account from probably his retirement account. And you see 30,000 go right out. Here we go. Bank of Ghana, 2,000, right? Here's another one. This name comes up often. This guy, John. Now this is a different, I remember that name. It's like different first name, same last name, and this zip code will change. I'm going to see if I can show you. These are two wire transfers, one to Austria and one to Accra, Ghana. And just remember this 0355644. And let's see if there's another one to the same guy. Look, here's John again. And notice how the name is slightly different. Adu, whatever. Here's the difference. This is his SSN, right? We could agree that this is probably the same person right here. 0355644, which doesn't even sound like a real number, real SSN number. And look, same guy with a space in his name, 032818. That's not a real number. That's not a real SSN number. 55644. That's someone that's just trying to get this typed into the system quickly to make a transfer quickly because they know they're guilty. Look at Accra, Ghana. Look again. Look, SSN 032818, 0383406, 034. This is the same dude, right? And so far he's got 5 different SSN numbers in this month. Here's another one. Look at this SSN number. So, to me, right, the bank, this is Chase Bank, agreed that they knew this was a scam. And they couldn't even, this is multiple wires going to the same person, and each time they're changing the SSN number. Now, the branch manager from Accra, Ghana has to approve these wires. Look at this, $45, $45, $45. This guy is a hero in bringing in wire transfers, but here's again another different Social Security, Accra, Ghana. So I'm not going to belabor the point. You can see that my claim that 80 to 90% of the 1.8 of the 2 million, let's just round it out at 2 million. Okay, it's probably, I'm not going to say. It's no more unless he went crazy later on the bank statements I'm missing. Let's just say it's 2 million. It's more than that, because if my assumption is correct, this guy, the banker's name comes up in a few different questionable transactions. One related to about a $40,000 scam and another $25,000 scam, all gold related. But I don't want, that's just a digression. I will not, I don't want to go there. I want you guys to follow me on, look at this, Citibank, money's coming into the account and it's going out of the account just as quickly. And here this guy's name again. Now, like, what if this name is linked to the banker's bank account in Ghana? That would mean he was self-dealing out of my dad's account. So here's my issue, and this is a 20-minute video. This is exciting to me, but maybe not to you. My issue is that if my father's JP Morgan Chase banker is Richard Ankobiah, let's get his name. Ankobiah. I can't spell. I'm terrible. I'm hooked on phonics. If, let's say, we know, because we did some research, that this guy is from a prominent family in Ghana, right? Accra, Ghana specifically, right? He may come from royalty in Accra, Ghana. What are the chances that A, he would be my father's banker, that my father is involved around the time that he comes to the branch, and I don't think he started out as the branch manager, but he ended up the branch manager. But he's my father's banker nonetheless. Back in 2010, his actual title was something like private account, like not preservation, but something like growth, something the opposite he allowed to happen with my father's account, right? What are the chances that, first of all, how many people do you know involved in an African gold scheme? A. B. Out of a national bank. Is that B or C? Let's call it B. C. Whose banker happens to be, banker and his family happens to be from Accra, Ghana. And he has a sister who's, I believe, a prominent lawyer or an actress. I'm confused when you look at her profile. I don't know if she's in the States or in Accra, Ghana. So, and the banker told us that he knew my father was involved in a scam. And he offered to call the scammers. You mean your cousins? On my father's behalf. Here's another wire to Africa, but the shifting, it's switching up now. It's not Ghana, but it goes back to Ghana. They spread it around. Guaranteed Bankers Trust, Lagos. Okay. Let me see when we get back to. So I think what they did, this was 2012. I guess too much money was going into that same bank in Ghana, so they spread it to Nigeria. But this is one bank statement. I didn't put this together. You've seen these amounts, right? 7,000, 5,000, like 4,000, 2,600, 4,200, 5,000, 4,000, 4,000, 5,000, 7,000, 5,000. Like this goes on. 7,000. Oh, here we go. Senegal. We're just spreading it around Africa. Now, what I'm saying to you is my father's not that, first of all, he's not that tech savvy. And I think he's a little bit, I hate to say this, he was, all right, so at minimum, he was severely scammed at 80 years old. At minimum. At worst case scenario, there's some senility going on, or that has been going on, but he's just high functioning. Look at this, 12,500. Lagos, Nigeria, 3,500. These wire transfers persisted like regularly, weekly, sometimes daily, from 2010 to 2016-ish, at which point the money, here's Ghana, it's back in but a different bank in Ghana. Oh, look, mining and investment. Like now they're getting creative. Now, so what's happened is once you're on a scam list and they realize that you're giving out free money, they come at you at all angles. You know, it's the same people, but they're pretending they're not. Like now you've got multiple deals going on out of Africa. And notice again this name here, right? Look at the SSN and the SS number, Social Security number, 0368302. This is the same guy down here, 1221. Look at the SSN number, 04722. Not like clearly a scam. This is on the same day. Hey, wait, your Social Security number changed on the same date? And I really feel like they were self-dealing. I don't believe my father, and I question him about this, that he would have allowed two wires of a similar amount. Like they changed it slightly, in my opinion, so that it wouldn't seem as a duplicate. This can only be done from the banker. And I would love to look this one up. And I'm going to guess who's behind this one. 1221. I'll see if I can look that up. 1221. I think that, this is a half an hour now, and I'm going. As I said, we're still in 2013. This went on to 2015. Yeah, I'll just, I have more. I just put those together. I think I wanted to scan them. And so now, to make matters worse, I open up an FBI case. I open up a Office of the Comptroller of Currency, which is basically the FDIC for national banks. And look at this account. They're even switching the accounts around. Oh no, this is the same. This is a different person. Okay, so I'd like to show you the letter, Chase's response to the allegations. I don't know if I may have it here. Oh, let me just show you where some of the money was coming from. It was coming from my mother and father's investment accounts at Morgan Stanley. So this, if you could actually see this money, 20,000 going into the account, and then there'll be a $20,000 disbursement out of the account to Africa. 15,000, 11,000, 13,000, 15,000. That's just some of them. Okay, I believe this is one of, this is in the response from Chase that they've put a recall on the following wire transfers. And this was just some of them. But they claimed they didn't have enough, they couldn't go back further. And then I provided them with all the wires back further because I had them. And I haven't heard a response. Here's another Richard Ankobiah. Here he is again. Here he strikes again, right? The branch manager who knows that my father is involved in a scam to his home country and possibly to his bank where he has an account that he has an account in, that he probably knows somebody in the bank that could transfer this Nelson Harry, the money that went to Nelson Harry would end up in his account. I'm just coming up with scenarios that seem viable, right? You know, every account, my father had a bunch of accounts with JP Morgan Chase, and every account, like this should have, red flags should have been going off everywhere. And no one said anything. I mean, and in 2014, there are no wire transfers. But in 2014, there's wire transfers from Bank of America. In 2014, my father was told that he could no longer send money out of Chase and that his bank accounts were being audited. Because my father, that's just something else though. So a year and some change went by where he couldn't send money from Chase. So sometime in 2015, my dad was told that he could start sending money from Chase again. Look at this account. This is an account that started out with almost $240,000, right? And let me show you the end of the account. Look at the balance. 24,000 in, this was 2016, in 2 years, because this was from a 2000, all right, less than in a year, the account went from 930 something thousand to 24,000, right? What is this, a year and 4 months? A year and 4 months? No. A year and 2 months. March 2nd, March 13th, 2015. In a year, the account was wiped out. And this wasn't the main account. This money was from a closing. And you can see I'm going backward. But let me go make you guys dizzy. All right, so you're seeing actually 936,000. Somehow this account is 977,000, right? No, this is like $1 million. All right, so the account was about $1 million on the 13th. Money must have been in the account. That 930 something thousand was just the proceeds from, it was a wire transfer after a closing on a brownstone we owned in Harlem, right? So money was already in the account. So just round it off $1 million, and you'll see $1 million, $57,000. That's most likely a transfer from one account to another account, and that account was used for the wire transfer out to Africa. All right, $70,000. Look how quickly this balance is going down. 10,000, 16,000. It's going down. So in August, in 5 months, we're already down to 670,000. This is, and these 400s and 400s and 400s are, and some of these larger amounts are supporting either Western Unions, because wire transfers and Western Unions were being used, all going to Ghana. So I guess they were making sure that if they got caught, the bank caught them, then the Western Union would be harder and they could keep that money. Look, we're already down to 530 something thousand. This is just one account, okay? This is not the main account, but this is essentially $1 million, and I'll just say, let's be as gracious as possible and say maybe he didn't pay any bills from it, so let's just say 900,000 of this million went to fund the gold scam out of Ghana, because that's really what it was. 80% of the money, 90% of the money went to Ghana. So, not to bore you, but you see that the money is disappearing, and now it's gone pretty much, right? I believe what happened is the account went negative. That's what I thought, but let's just go by that by this. All right. All under the supervision of the branch manager. Lastly, I'm going to see gold scam continues 2013. Oh, this is Kevin Bramble. This is an email, and this is a request. I mean, they really, oh Santa, dear oh Santa. Prince Joyce. You have gold for sale and you work with Prince Joyce. I would never object to you contacting me. If you have Skype, like This is all of, I was about to curse. This is all BS. Custom, loan my father the money, $5,000, so that my father will not die of the sickness. Look at, like, what does that have to do with anything? Does not needed the gold again. Oh, here we go. Here's extortion. Loan my father the money, 5,000, so my father will not die of sickness. And if you and Lawrence does not needed the gold again, I will ask my father, junior brother, to sell the gold, and will join him to sell he gold. If not, if are not my father, neither. I can't. I'm just doing what I'm doing because I call you for the joint venture partnership. And because, like, it's all, it's all, and it's aided. I'm throwing this guy, Ken Baramble, in. I don't think he's the culprit. I think he, um, and these are certificates of ownership. Like, they really convinced my father that he owned some gold, and all you have to do is help us get it out of Ghana. Here we go. So it's not. It is not. It's a Ghana scam with the banker in from Ghana. And this Kevin Baramble, this was the Edgewater property. That was the address. Beautifully renovated, gold dust. They caught the guy that was responsible for this gold dust. This gold dust scam. He was actually taking pictures of this gold dust. This is the pictures that were going around. I saw this as part of the scam. This was Liberian gold from their reserves, and they allowed this scammer. I saw it on TV. They had like the whole thing when he got caught and he admitted it. He took pictures of the gold. He asked the guards to take a picture of the gold, and he used the pictures to solicit to start this gold scam. I've got all this backed up. Let's see. All I wanted to do is kind of find, because there's a response from Chase. Let me just put Chase in here. Chase statements, recall response. There's a admission in writing that they knew about the scam. They claim that they told my father that it was a scam, and it's like, oh, here's proof in 2014 that my father's accounts were under investigation. Now, what's interesting is that the banker from Ghana told my father that he couldn't send wires out of the bank, and I'm not sure whether the account was frozen or the guy didn't want any transactions to show up while the account was being audited. But after the audit, in 2015, the wires, my father was told that he could start wiring out again. So I'm just wondering if even the crooked banker was trying to be careful not to get caught and basically told my father to lay low while I don't think he said it like that, but while while the okay while the account was being audited. Now, here's Chase's response. Dear Mr. Joseph, right? We are responding to your complaint about the wire transfers completed on Mr. Joseph's behalf. We appreciate his service to our country. Full of shit. Sorry. Please accept our condolences for your loss. He's alive. So what loss are you talking about? Thank you for sharing your concerns. We are sorry to hear that Mr. Joseph was a victim of a wire scam. We spoke with him about our concerns with sending the wires, and he informed us that he understood the risks, right? Show me that in writing. And if someone's being scammed and might be possibly mentally ill, which they wouldn't have known, then why aren't you notifying the authorities if you see it's unusual behavior and a senior citizen is dissolving his life savings? Where's the protection? Where's the elder care protection? Where's the just unusual foreign transfers to another country? That's not normal. I'm going to read further. We do not have an obligation to notify authorities of wire transfers. Since we only keep records for 6 years, we are not able to research the wire transfers submitted before 2015. Well, I have them. It's about 1.2 million. We researched the wires submitted in 2015 and 16 and requested a recall of the funds. We try to recall wires when we receive a recall request, but it's up to the beneficiary bank to release the funds. The wire transfers were sent as instructed by your branch manager. He's the only one that would have known my father had any money. We didn't even know he had this kind of money. So my suspicion is that it was an inside job. The African banker from Ghana, Accra, Ghana, had private information about my father's accounts, and that's how these victims are getting targeted. Please see the enclosed wire list and status. Okay. We cannot guarantee the funds. Yeah. His account was closed in 2016. Okay, at least they admitted that. Statute of limitation, I think, is 7 years. And so next June will be 7 years. If we are not successful in recovering funds, you and your father will have to seek assistance outside of Chase. I sure will. Law enforcement already contacted. An attorney to recover the funds. Yes, from you. In my opinion, Chase. I think I called the FTC, but I'll call them again. In my opinion, I'm not interested in suing the scammers. I want to sue Chase for applying their banking laws and skirting their fiduciary responsibility to my dad. I don't know the banking laws, but I know, interesting enough, another check that involved the banker, right? Oh, this is oh, transfers. Okay, that's something else. Um, yeah, this crap. This is 2020. So this they're trying to get rid of my dad and get him as far away as possible. Um, and this is a home equity loan they gave him, even though he wasn't paying his mortgage, right? They gave him uh, they gave him a home equity line of credit so that they could continue this scam and squeezing my father for every dime he had. This is what Chase provided us with. So, thank you, Chase. You prove my case. So, oh, this is the statuses. All right, so this is Chase's weak attempt to get the money back, but personally, I think that they should be providing the money. They should be suing the beneficiary bank to try to get the money back. Because if this goes to court, it's going to be hard for them to defend themselves. It's going to be hard for them to see a few $1,000,000 going to a bank in Ghana when the banker is from Ghana. It's, I just know how these things work. I'm not even an attorney, but um, I don't know. Just seems unsavory at best, and criminal, possibly criminal. Um, Not possibly criminal, but it implicates them that it was an inside job. And this was sad that I saw. This is my grandfather's, a check that my grandfather signed. You could see by the type that it's an old check. My grandfather was a Chase customer also when it was called the Chase Manhattan Bank. So the way I see it, and I'm trying not to get emotional, my grandfather was a Chase banker. Clearly, my dad was a Chase banker. I never really became a Chase banker because I didn't like their fees and their minimums. And then they allowed this to happen to him with a weak response, nonchalant. We're not responsible for letting senior citizens give up their life savings, millions of dollars, because we don't owe him a fiduciary responsibility, and we don't owe a call to the FBI for, and we don't need to investigate our banker, our branch manager, who's from the same hometown. Now, lastly, this is the spreadsheet that I created, that with wires in chronological order, pretty much, and is 47. I don't know if you saw. I think there was a. This is all right. This is a payment into his account on the 28th the end of February, the last day of February in 2010. And look what happens the third day I mean January, last day in January 28th. And then within a week, look how much is going out. So, okay. So what are the chances that this amount, 27,000, right, would go into my father's account, and then 21,600 is going out in a wire transfer, and this is going to Ghana, and this Kevin Baramble's name is in here. Now, these are some of the first wire transfers assisted by Kevin Baramble, remember, who's at home squatting in a luxury townhouse with his special needs son and his wife, with all kinds of junk in the house. And this is an aside, I wasn't able to sell the house because it was so roach infested by the time we tried to sell it in 2018 or 19, or forget, that we couldn't sell it. It killed the deal. I had a client there. They opened up the drawers. The lady opened up the drawers, saw hundreds of roaches, screamed, and then ran to another drawer and saw another 100 roaches, and she ran out of the house, and I lost that deal. All right, so I just want to show you this run through that I have the proof. Look at this. Ghana, 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 Kenya, right? Kenya, Ghana, 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 Accra, Ghana, Ghana. When I say 80 to 90% of the money that went out of the Chase account went right to the hometown of the banker. Nigeria. I showed you some of this. This is just showing you like a different, that I took the time to put this in a spreadsheet because I wanted to know. And I don't even think this is the final spreadsheet. Let me see if all these are negative, right? Let me see if let me do I can tell by the amount whether this is the no, this is nowhere near the final one. I have another one where it continues. All right, this has no 2012, 13, 14, 15. It's got a 16. The banking statements were out of, weren't in order. Wow, this. All right, well, that's it. These are deposits into the account that went right out of the account. So this is an hour long. I know most will not watch the whole hour, but I don't know what to do. Texas subpoena processing. And this subpoena doesn't really say that the account is frozen. This is the tricky part. This is 2014, and the subpoena doesn't say that they're closing the account, but the banker notified my dad, like, you can't send wires out of the account. And no wires were sent out from this date all the way into 2015, at which time the wires, my father was told he could resume sending wires out. So to me, if a whole year went by, more than a year went by, and you had instructed my dad that he couldn't send out wires from the account, what in God's, like, what would allow you to then tell my father he could start sending wires again, unless you were benefiting or you were involved in the scam? I just want to ask you, I mean, like, to me, I'm just going to say it. I don't mean anything stereotypical or racist or anything about it. But if I was, if I'll just say third person, if someone I knew had let's use a Russian banker. You can substitute with any foreign, non-American ethnicity. Someone who is from Russia and is now a banker in New Jersey. And at the same time, coincidentally, money started going out of your grandparent or your father, your elderly father's account, to the same town in Russia. Let's just say Moscow, because I'm ignorant and don't know the town, any other towns except except Moscow. Let's just say a banker from Moscow becomes your banker in a U.S. bank, and then hundreds of thousands of dollars over the next 5 to 6 years, unbeknownst to you, have gone to Moscow, Russia, and the banker is from Moscow, Russia. So, at what point can a bank say, I'm not going to investigate my branch manager, although he's from Moscow, Russia, although he may have an account in those very banks, he may have accounts in those very banks, or relatives with accounts in those very banks. I'm not going to investigate him. And we told him that he could be involved in a Russian scam. The Russian branch manager, banker, told your father, told you that he warned your father that he might be involved in Moscow gold scam. How would that set with you? So I'm not interested in going after the scammers. Let Chase go after the scammers. Let them recall those wire transfers and get their money back. I'm looking for a settlement in way in excess, several times, 5 to 10 times the money that's missing. Now, I really believe it's an inside job. and the money can be traced directly to the Chase branch manager. And Chase is going to be worried about that too. It's not like it's a branch manager from Ireland that may not be, that could say, I'm not familiar, I wasn't familiar with African gold schemes, so, you know, I shouldn't be held to a higher responsibility of notifying my dad, your dad, and or freezing the account or notifying the authorities. No, this is from the branch manager who's very full well aware of the not the Ghanaian the gold schemes out of Ghana, and quite possibly, well, let me put it this way, and I'll close with this. The branch manager told my father that he had other clients that were victims of similar scams, and he called them on her behalf, and the scam stopped. I would just like to ask you, what banking service, what scammer negotiation services does Chase offer? Do they have to call the scammers on the banker's behalf before they call the FBI or Interpol? All I'm saying is, are you going to call the scammers on my dad's behalf to, because you're sympathetic to the scammers in your hometown, or you know them personally, or you're personally connected? I can't see the African banker calling some Russian scammers. The whole thing is fishy. I need an attorney that knows banking laws to take a look at this. I have way more evidence than this. This is a Chase Bank case. This is a Bank of America case, because there's roughly maybe 100,000, I'm just guessing, that went through Bank of America in the year that my dad couldn't send through Chase. I'm just rounding off. It could be more. This is a Western Union and MoneyGram case who already lost a $350 million class action suit, but mysteriously my dad was not included in that suit, although they froze his account at both Western Union and MoneyGram and forbid him from sending through Western Union and MoneyGram with no notice of why he was being blocked. And then he wasn't included in the class action suit. So this is a juicy case. To me, this is, and maybe because I'm personally involved, this is a case that is wickedly egregious, and I just need someone or to be steered in the right direction of where I can go from here. I think I'm gonna call this FTC. I think I called them before, but I think I'll call them again. The FBI never called me back. If they did, I didn't recognize the number. I don't know if they're still looking into this, but Chase responded, and then the Office of the Comptroller of Currency responded, just echoing Chase's response, which was not how it was supposed to go. It was supposed to be that I made a complaint, Chase had a right to respond, then I had a right to supply them with what any information they were missing, which I did. And then when I followed up, the Office of Comptroller of Currency sent a letter just echoing Chase's last position. It was supposed to go to a ombudsman that was supposed to rule on the case if we couldn't mediate. And that part didn't happen. So now I'm skeptical about even the Office of the Comptroller of Currency. That are they buddy with Chase? Like you're the regulatory. You're not supposed to be in bed with Chase. You're supposed to be protecting the account holders. So sounds like some collusion. This case has something for everyone. So I'm gonna end it. If you have this link, this is going to be a private link. You'll know who to call to reach me. Thanks.